If you didn't watch SmackDown this week, you'll be all caught up just by watching this video. There wasn't anything that was a must watch, and that's just the truth of things. So let me tell you why that's the case. We got to start off SmackDown this week with a talking segment. Duh! How else can you start a wrestling show? But at least it was a talking segment that mattered, because it was Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon who were in the ring, and they both explained why they acted the way that each did during the tag match at the pay-per-view, and Daniel explained that he believed in giving all talent equal opportunity in the show, regardless of how likable or not they are. And he believed in it so much that he told Shane, if you want to fire someone so badly, then fire me. And there was a pause there to increase the suspense and the tension in the air, but ultimately, Shane didn't fire him and wished him luck in running the show. It wasn't a bad start, and I'm thinking that it's safe to say that this story hasn't seen its last chapter yet. Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable defeated the Usos clean in the middle of the ring. I believe it was 2 weeks ago that I said that they were booked poorly enough up to that point that they didn't seem like credible threats to the tag champs anymore, but after their performance at Clash of Champions and now their victory over the champs, well, it looks like that's changed, and hopefully they'll keep this ball rolling because SmackDown does a much better job at giving their tag team scene exposure than Raw does. Oh boy, where to start? That promo by Charlotte was just painful to watch. I'm sure I'm not alone when I say that I could basically see the teleprompters in her eyes as she was trying to remember exactly how to deliver the lines she was told to memorize. Everything she said just came across so monotonous and robotic and just plain fake. It really took me out of the show, and that's never a good thing. And then Naomi came out and said that she was officially announcing her entry into the Women's Rumble, literally right after Charlotte had just said that all the women from both shows are gonna be participating in it. And then the two women had a tag match against Sarah Logan and Ruby Riott, and they won, and that was that. Overall, it wasn't the best of ways to continue to build the hype for the big match come January. New Day's always been ridiculous in almost everything they do, and here they were dressed as different Christmas figures, and Rusev and English joined them to spoil their fun. Rusev basically told them, hey, fuck your shirt, people should buy a Rusev Day shirt instead. And then he took a handful of Big E's pancakes, took a huge bite out of them, and then threw the rest on the floor and stomped on them. It was stupid, it was ridiculous, but it also tickled me a little. Our new United States champ got some much needed and much welcomed promo time this week, and he used that time to remind us all of his many accolades he's obtained over the years, naming his US, Intercontinental, and World title victories since 2011. And it was pretty freaking great! I enjoyed the hell out of it! Talk about a man with a chip on his shoulder. And not only did you feel the anger coming off of every one of his words as he spoke, but he took the title off of his shoulder, briefly held it in his hands, and then proceeded to just leave the title in the middle of the ring. And he said, right before he put it down, that he was doing it so that we had something to remember him by, which of course was complete sarcasm and disdain on his part. And it's worked, because now he's left us wondering, what's next for him? Did this really mean that he just vacated the US title right after winning it to make his point? And if that's the case, are we left with Rude versus Corbin to feud for the title again? Cause I really don't want to see that. But this whole segment was a complete 180 from Charlotte's promo earlier in the night. It felt genuine, and honesty is an element that always makes for great promo stuff. Props to the man for putting on a hell of a performance and for making us want to know what's next. And then we move on to something a bit less enjoyable, but it was fine for what it was. Like I said earlier, it's no secret that the New Day like to get ridiculous because it's who they are, and Rusev and English playing along to it isn't all far-fetched. English got flapjacked into some flapjacks, the audience seemed plenty into it, it was what it was, but we don't need to see anything of the sort again anytime soon. And last but not least, we had the 6-man tag team match featuring the 6 main event stars of SmackDown. and it was fine, it was fun to watch, and it was basically the payoff that we didn't get at Clash of Champions. We got a solid outcome in which the good guys won and the bad guys lost, although Zayn and Owens get cheered and not booed, and theoretically, we all went home happy because the supposed heroes were triumphant in their efforts. And that was SmackDown this week. Overall, it wasn't a terribly exciting episode, and it's safe to say the moment of the week for the show was Dolph Ziggler leaving the US title in the ring and leaving us all with several questions regarding that whole thing. What did you think of this week's show? Leave a comment to let me know so we can talk some pro wrestling together, because that's always fun stuff. And if you enjoy 20 by 20, hit a Kinshasa on that subscribe button and consider supporting the channel on Patreon. But until then, this was this week's SmackDown edition of the show, and I'll catch you here for next week's episodes.